The story begins in the heart of Africa. No, wait, it actually begins in Connecticut, where 10-year-old Arthur is daydreaming about being in Africa with his grandpa, Archibald. Note that Archibald has gone missing, and both Arthur and Grandma Daisy are missing him dearly. After a short ride in town, Daisy and Arthur shop some things and return. Back at the house, Arthur completes his new irrigation system with straws and manages to water his grandma's radishes. Soon, however, Arthur receives a call from his parents, who wish him happy birthday and apologize to him for not being able to come to him. Arthur is disappointed by their behavior, but Daisy makes up for him with a big and delicious birthday cake. Arthur wishes his grandpa would join him in his next birthday. That night, Daisy tells Arthur stories from Archibald's book. Arthur learns of an African tribe, the Bogo Matasalai, and a mysterious tribe of minuscule humanoid creatures called the Minimoys that are living in Archibald's garden, holding a treasure of rubies. The next day, Davido, a greedy and disrespectful man, comes and announces Daisy that in 48 hours she is to be evicted unless she pays what she owes. Arthur mentions Grandpa's treasure, but Daisy replies that all this time she couldn't find any of the rubies. As Daisy tries to sell some of Archibald's stuff, Arthur is attempting to locate the rubies on his own. Daisy makes $300, which gives them right away. Arthur is furious with what is happening. The eviction, the lack of money, the phone and electricity cut off. He retreats to the attic, where he reads a note by William Shakespeare saying, "Some words may hide others." Arthur lights a candle and reads a secret message left for him by his grandpa on how to get to the Minimoys. Arthur follows the instructions, sneaking into his grandpa's office, despite a failed first attempt to get a key from his grandpa's bedroom. He eventually gets the key, accidentally drugging Daisy and breaking down her door. Soon enough, Arthur finds the secret passage to the Minimoys. He carries the rest of the equipment to the passage when a group of Bogo Matasalai tribesmen come to the house and prepare him for the journey to the land of the Minimoys. They tell him that he has to brace himself and fight the evil M, Maltazar, that is, but we don't say that name out loud, for it brings bad luck. The beam from the telescope shines out, and Arthur makes contact with Betameshe, a funny Minimoy. He introduces himself and warns Betamese that in 2 days' time the garden will be flattened and all flowers will die. The same will happen to the Minimoys. Betameshe wisely decrees then this as an extreme emergency and calls for the ferryman. He says that Arthur must go to the king, and the ferryman prepares Arthur to come through the telescope. Arthur then shrinks and turns into a Minimoy, following afterwards Betameshe to the king's court. There he sees Princess Selenia, his not-so-secret crush, getting ready to pull out the sword of power and protect her people from the evil M. Her brother, however, Betameshe, annoying as a bumblebee, disrupts the ceremony and tells King Sifrat about Arthur and the important things he has to say. Selenia bickers with Betameshe and fails to take the sword. Arthur steps in and warns the king about the impending doom. He asks to know of the treasure that his grandfather hid in the Minimoy's world, and King Sifrat tells him that Archibald found the rubies in the city of Necropolis, M's domain, but that is a place no one ever returns alive. Suddenly, a Minimoy who has been reported missing after going to Necropolis returns. Arthur notices that it is a trap. Selenia dismisses this, but soon enough finds out that it is indeed a trap. M's soldiers riding mosquitoes fly inside the city and threaten to destroy everything. But valiant Arthur fights them after pulling out the sword of power, and he saves Princess Selenia in the city of the Minimoys. Selenia tells her father that she has to complete her mission, and he says that she can do this, but only if she takes Arthur with her. Arthur and Selenia smile at each other, and Miro, the royal advisor, tells Arthur to keep an eye out for his lost son, Mino. The mission begins. Arthur, Selenia, and Betameshe travel to Terminus. In the meantime, Grandma Daisy, completely unaware of Arthur's adventure, wakes up and notices all the mess the boy has done the previous night. Of course, she doesn't know that her grandson is ready to travel with 2 Minimoys to the Necropolis inside a walnut. The journey proves to be a disaster, and after the crash landing, Selenia stabs a worm, which pushes the walnut further off. Arthur cuts the nut open and the group finds itself on a small stream. Arthur saves Selenia and Betameshe from the water. They're so afraid of using the lace from Selenia's top, tying it to the sword and then sticking the sword to a tree. After this, the trio camps inside a poppy flower, and Arthur learns that Selenia is to have her 1000th birthday in 2 days. In the morning, Selenia wakes up Arthur and Beta Meche, and the team resumes its journey. They soon come to Arthur's irrigation system that is actually a bad thing for the Minimoys, who, as we said, hate water. In fact, the straws turn out to be invaluable for M, whose soldiers are seen cutting them and transporting them. Arthur and his team hide inside one of the straws and end up back in the stream, where Akula Masai, a Rasta Minimoy of sorts, hides them from the evil soldiers and takes them to a place where refugees hide, and also have fun in a cool club. The leader of this clan, Max, buys the trio's drinks and hits on Selenia. Arthur, not handling the drinks all too well, is this close to sign a weird contract with one of M's soldiers, until Selenia saves him. The two of them dance until Darkos, M's son, comes to the party. He learns of newcomers and recognizes Selenia. She offers her a dance, but the princess tells him she'd rather die than dance with him. Darkos gets angry, and a new set of fighting begins. Dancing like pros and fighting on a vinyl disc, Arthur, Selenia, and Beta Menes kick backside and have fun. And just when things become too crowded with evil soldiers, Max turns off the lights following M's curfew orders, but Darkos gives him permission to keep his club open, and the lights turn back on. The trio, however, has been escorted through the back door, and is now making their way towards M's quarters. In the meantime, Arthur's parents come and get worried about his disappearance, but quickly get excited when they hear about Grandpa's treasure in the garden. As the group of heroes makes it to M's quarters, Selenia parts ways with Arthur and Beta Meche, aiming to fight M all alone. Arthur objects, but Selenia kisses him, marrying him thus in the Minimoy tradition, and giving him all her powers, and leaves him behind. She confronts M, while Arthur and Beta Meche are cornered by Darkos and his men. Maltazar tells a sobbing story of how he ended up like the evil person he is, but Selenia corrects him, saying that he swaps forces with an evil spider, and that is how he got all disfigured. Maltazar says that only the first kiss from a princess will save him and reverse his mutation, but upon hearing of her clever plan to marry Arthur, she captures her. Arthur and Beta Meche are thrown now in a cell, where Arthur is finally reunited with his grandpa. Selenia is thrown in the cell as well. Arthur goes to kiss her when he hears of the 1,000-year tradition of waiting for another kiss. Soon the prisoners are taken out of the cell and brought before Maltazar, who, sitting upon his throne of rubies, prepares his weapon to wipe out the Minimoys by flooding them using Arthur's straws. He releases Arthur and the rest, but Arthur gives Minos, who works as a technician for M, his bracelet and tells him to reveal his location at exactly 12 p.m. The group runs down the tunnel that is soon going to be flooded. Archibald can't carry on, and as hopeless as he is, he stops. Arthur urges him to move on and then sees his car toy, Davido, has kicked in the grate. He gets everyone inside and drives just on time before the water drowns them. In the meantime, the Bogo Matasalai tribesmen revisit Grandma's house and spook Arthur's parents. Arthur and the team succeed in entering the Minimoy city and close the gates before the water comes in. Maltazar thinks now he is the supreme ruler and basks in his glory, while Grandma Daisy is seen crying for the loss of both Archibald and Arthur. Yet Arthur, who is kissed again by Selenia, she obviously doesn't care about the tradition, returns to his world, followed by his grandpa Archibald, and together they manage to stall Davido's plans of buying their land. Mino notifies Arthur of the ruby's position according to plan, and Arthur destroys Maltazar's quarters with a baseball, breaking the machine and drowning his men. Maltazar is the only one who survives the havoc, riding a mosquito while Arthur gets hold of the rubies. Archibald signs Davido's documents and pays him off with a ruby, but Davido tries to steal the rubies. The Bogo Matasalai tribesmen, however, stop him and he's arrested. Arthur sends Mino back to the Minimoys, who are now safe, seeing that the waters have receded. As the family above ground celebrates, Arthur and Selenia can't wait to reunite again after 10 moons. The end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.